palette we're using for those who are coming back for the replay crew. And we also have a discussion that we're gonna to do also for this live. And I have notes. I just wrote out everything. I'm not gonna actually like read off the paper, but I just typed it up to help keep myself on track. So let's get, we're using Natasha Denona Bloom palette. Excuse me, this will be my ninth look with this palette. And I did look back over the other looks I did, and even though we've used everything in here at least twice and put different colors in different places, out of the 8 previous looks I've done with this, only 3 look distinctly different. So I'm like, but we are going to do some pairing with this after this look. I believe we're going to roll back around to it after we finish doing individual looks with the other Natasha Denona palettes. And so, but I'm like, that's not looking too good, that they're all looking the same. But so it's looking like we are going to be pairing it, we're switching it up, some of the shades up with bronze palette. I do get more versatility from bronze than I do from this one. Hey Janessa, this is the City Beauty brightening eye cream. I already put on their lip oil, so I'm going to do the intro. Let me back up. Also using a Bloom palette to do a look, we're going to talk about how does, hey Grace, we're going to talk about how what identifies us, family, religion, and societal expectations. And this came about because I had no idea what I was going to talk about today. And I was talking to a friend about a situation, like a real life situation, somebody I know in real life. And hey Sarah, and so then when I was thinking about it, I said, you know what, this is going to be Monday's topic. And I am hoping it is interactive, because so let me go ahead and do the intro so we can jump into the look and into this topic. But as I'm doing that, I would like for you to think about, what do you identify yourself by or from? And so we're going to put on the NY20. It is not. This is the NY10. Sometimes these dots are too much of the Natasha Denona. Like this really spreads. It goes. It's going to go. She be rolling. And this is the NY11. I actually feel a little nervous about this topic, but let me get on with the intro because that I know I could do. Hello again and welcome. My name is Dion. I call this the Crazy Troll Nation of YouTube. Why do I call it that? The crazy part is knowing it's okay to be your authentic self in a world where people will tell you who and how you should be. The troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards. You set the standard for yourself. Hey Dawn, you were here. You must use this brand, this tool. I meant to use the concealer brush for this, which is right here. You may hear, you must use this brand, this tool, this technique. And I'm here to tell you, use whatever you want to, however you want to get your makeup on in a way that you are satisfied with it. Because I don't know about anywhere else, but here at the Crazy Troll Nation, we believe in self-acceptance and self-love, embracing our natural features. Sorry if I shook you. Enhancing them if we want to, when we want to, but never feeling like we have to. Listen, love yourself for who you are and for how you look, even when you're not wearing face paint. So that's what the Crazy Troll Nation motto is. Be your authentic self, wear what you want to and rock it. Love yourself, self-acceptance in a nutshell. So y'all go, why you ain't just say that? Y'all know I be just talking long. 2 things to know about me. Sometimes I curse in videos because sometimes I curse in videos. Well, actually life, period. And the other thing is there's an organism that lives in my throat that randomly hiccups, gurgles, and belches. And I do try to be aware of it to say, excuse me, but sometimes a couple will get past me. And as I'm watching it on YouTube, I'm like, okay, that's gross even for a troll. But I promise you, I do try to be aware of it. Skinny Queen, I owe you an apology. Because when I watched back the last live, I kept calling you Skinny Jean. And I'm thinking like from back in the day when they had jeans that was called Skinny Jean. And I did it like quite a bit. And a couple times I did say Skinny Queen, but most of the times I was calling you Skinny Jean. And so I want to apologize for that. I was just like, I've been calling her Skinny Jeans instead of Skinny Queen. So I do apologize for that. And that's a perfect example of how I don't notice something in the moment, but when I watch back, I'm like, and a couple times I'm like, did I really say Jean instead of Queen? Yeah. Oh man, so I do apologize for that. So our topic, I don't know if I can do this and my face at the same time. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Where's my powder brush? Maybe it was still wet. So you still say Skinny Jean, says Dawn. Yeah, but that's not her name. And that's why I was just like, did I say Jean? And I was like, oh man. I was like, ooh. And it was more than one time. So it wasn't just like, okay, that was just like a one-time fluke. Like I said it quite often. It's just like, oh, sorry. Or jeggings. I remember those too. I didn't wear those long. I do have a pair of skinny jeans that I actually purchased from Temu, and they are very comfortable. But because the band is so loose, even if I've been down, like it just, the jeans just fall off my ass. So I did buy a belt also off of Temu that I wear when I wear the skinny jeans, but they are very comfortable. Because my issue with skinny jeans is I have a badunkadunk, and so, but I also have, you know, some my pudge around my stomach area, and I have hips, and so buying skinny jeans, like a lot of them didn't always fit well, but those were very comfortable, surprisingly. And I bought it when they were giving me like credits and all of that stuff a couple years ago. Seemed like a couple years ago. So that's how those came to be. Because I was curious about it, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to buy them. So when I had that opportunity, I did get that. I have not heard back from them on their recent email about their influencer program. They probably looked up my past account with them. I don't know, but that is okay because they're shady. But anyway, so excuse me. The situation is, and I know quite a few people like this in real life, where they're always married. If they get divorced, they date somebody, somebody moves in after like about, 6-7 months, and then, maybe 4 months later, they're like, oh, we're getting married. But after like the third time, it's not, oh, that's so exciting. It's like, oh, okay, like it's not a big deal anymore. Because some people, they do have a pattern. And so after like the third time, it's just like, we knew that was going to happen. And I'm not saying that to shade anybody, but there are patterns to the situation I'm talking about. And so I don't want to out this man, but I'm going to say it. I don't like skinny jeans. I've never looked at a man and thought he would be much hotter if he looked like he had tiny chicken legs. And that's the thing, Janessa, is the body needs to be proportioned so you don't look like you have chicken legs. I met this guy, you reminded me, y'all be having me flashbacking years ago, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. Met this guy from On Plenty of Fish, right? We met and he looked like he was in a time warp. And I say that because y'all know I'm not matchy with my clothes, makeup, none of that, right? And he had on a red hat, a red shirt, red jeans, and red sneakers. And I'm like, he is still back in the 70s. I was looking at him like, and he was buff up top and has chicken legs. Y'all know that's jailhouse, right? Because you in there, you pumping iron, but you don't do no work on your legs. And so when we went into the restaurant for dinner, we're sitting there chit-chatting, right? I said, so what were you in for? And he looked at me, he said, what do you mean? I said, what were you in prison for? And he was like, how did you know? I said, what were you in for? I knew because of his physique. He was all buff with these skinny little legs. And I'm like, he been in jail. And so he did tell me what he was in for. But I was just like, okay, that is just way too obvious. Like, why nobody told him? At least, lift bricks with your calves or something. I don't know. But anyway, I don't want to out this man. I don't want to out this man. I'm not going to out this man. But someone in my family, actually, all of these are family things. Guys crack me up with their little going. I'd be like, y'all do know this don't look right, right? And they just be walking around. I'm like, yeah, don't fall. Your leg is gonna break. But there's someone in my family. They're in their 5th marriage, and there's a pattern. You get divorced, you meet somebody else, they move in 6 months or so, and then they get married. There is a thing called serial monogamous, and those are people who they are never alone. You meet a person, they like you, you like them, y'all a couple. Y'all break up, the next person you meet that like you, you like them, y'all a couple. Some people are never single. It might be maybe a month, but when they meet the next person they like, they're a couple. Like they're just, and the thing with being a serial monogamous is you don't really, unless you're in tune to yourself. Hey, Michelle, you don't really get to know who you are as a person because you're always with somebody else. And when you're with somebody, there's certain things you may do that you wouldn't do on your own because you're taking into consideration this other person. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you go from person to person to person, I don't want to use that brush. When you go from person to person to person, it's like, who are you? Like, do you even know? And that's why they say, like, when you're in like AA, NA, whatever, they say don't date anyone for at least a year because you need to learn who you are without that drug or without that drink. Because your whole identity is, I do this drug or I do this drink, and it's very much a part of my life. And so when they get clean, they're like, learn who you are first. But some people do. This guy I know, he met somebody at a meeting and they've been together ever since. I'm just like, you don't even know who you are. But then neither did she. But anyway, so I started thinking about how people that are never alone, if they are alone, they're looking for the next one. And there is definitely a pattern. And then so I started thinking, like, why is that? And the way I see it, and y'all let me know, like, please, this is going to be interactive. That reminds me of Ryan and Amanda from Teen Mom. Did I even put foundation on my nose? And family as children, and I know I've talked before about unlearning past behaviors because we're raised, do this, don't do that, act this way, don't act that way. If you're told to do something you don't agree with, stop being a pain in the butt, do what you're told, be respectful. But then you're always doing what somebody else thinks and says you should do. And a lot of people carry that over into adulthood, and they don't really ever develop who they are as an individual because they're still living according to childhood lessons. And as a child, I get it. You need to learn to respect people's authority, clean up after yourself, all that stuff, and don't be mean to people. But other stuff as far as your way of life, grow up. And unfortunately, some people don't. So I was talking to, actually, it was the dude with the house, because I was talking about serial monogamy. And when I explained it, he was like, wow, that's how I am. Because when his mom passed and he moved into his mom's house, he said things started to look different being on the outside looking into like his marriage and his relationship with his grown daughters and their husbands, whatever. But people don't realize it, that they're in this cycle. And he said he found that he liked just being there by himself because it's peaceful. And if you've ever lived with people and then live alone, it is peaceful. It is really peaceful. Picking two bronzers at random. We picked 9 and 11. We're raised, and let me know if this rings true for y'all. We're raised. Hey, Alexandra. This is this is 11. This is 9. We're going to put, which one looks darker? 11 looks more red. This is 11. 11 is described as deep, warm, rosy undertones. This is 9, and this is medium, deep to deep, cool, golden undertones. So we're going to put 9 on first. And we're raised, and I'm speaking specifically for us women, us who are born with vaginas, I'll just put it that way. Because there are some non-gender, there are some people who, are hermaphrodites. And so I don't want to just be like women, because anybody can be a woman. If you choose, anybody can be a man if you choose, or binary, non-binary, all of that. So I'm not excluding anyone. So I'll just say vagina people. And I hope that's not offensive. We're raised, have your Barbie dolls, take care of your dolls. And so we're raised to be caregivers and to take care of things, well, and other people, because some people are like really messy. But we're geared and raised toward taking care of a life, even though it's a Barbie doll. We put it to sleep. We fake burp it. We fake feed it. You know what I mean? I didn't have one because we were poor, but some people even have like toy baby carriages, and they put their baby in it, and they're walking around, and so you're 5 years old playing like you're a mom, but you don't realize it because you're 5, and you're just like, oh, this is just a toy. And so we're raised where you meet somebody, you like them, they like you, get married, have kids. It worked back in the day because the times were different. Like these days, like some of us as women, this is 11. So I'm just putting this back here, like right here. And we're just going to feather. So this is going to give us like a gradient between where 9 and 11 is. And so back in the day, women mostly didn't even work. They got married, had kids, they were stay-at-home moms. And regardless of how they were treated, even if mistreated, they stayed because they had nowhere to go. Now there's shelters and other stuff. But back then, it was like they didn't have any money because the man worked. They stayed home. And even if a woman put away a few dollars here or there, it wasn't enough to sustain herself if she needed to go. And I don't think we're going back to 9. I don't think they had shelters the way they do now, or resources that they do now. And so that was the pattern. You meet somebody, you get married, they take care of you, period. And so this person I know, and that's her pattern. And I'm just like, oh, so I want to say this is her, I want to say 3rd, but for some reason I'm thinking it's more than that. We randomly picked these two. Oh man, Watermelon Bliss and Acai Sky. And this is Watermelon Bliss, Universal Red. This is Acai Sky. It's described as a berry purple. So Watermelon Bliss, Acai Sky. We're going to put on Acai Sky first. I had this combination before, and I actually really like that. So the pattern is she meets a guy, and usually it's someone she knows from before. And I remember talking in a video before, maybe a live stream, how like when I look at people who are in new relationships, it's usually somebody that they knew back when they were growing up, or just from around the way or something like that. Yes, Dawn, blush. Or as Janessa says, blush. Putting on some blush. And so her husband, she usually messages me when something happens. So it's never just, hey, how you doing? It's always, hi, how you doing? And then it's like this, and I'm just like, okay, that's why they text me. Or that's why they wanted me to call, type of thing. And I always dated people at work. It is, Sarah, it is a pretty combination. And I picked it at random before. That's how I did it. And I'm like, oh, I got both the two of the darkest blushes I have. This is Watermelon Bliss. And so her pattern is, even if they're kind of, so we have a Acai Sky and Watermelon Bliss. And you can see my freckles through it, so it does look like watermelon seeds. I'm tripping already, y'all. We're only 20 minutes in, I'm already tripping. But, and so she'll reconnect with somebody from back in the day. She does have her own house, and she never gives up her house. But, she'll date someone, 5 or 6 months, and then they'll move into her house. And then like 4 or 5 months later, she's like, "Oh, we went down to Just a Piece and got married." I'm like, "Oh, okay," because there's no big deal at this point because it's been so many times. And I was thinking how, old school, the woman, the wife didn't have anything. The husband had the money, so he bought the house. Blah 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 blah. Y'all, this is like whoa. But that gradient though, and old school, they don't combine finance. They do combine finances. And that's what I thought was kind of curious. Like, okay, you make sure you keep your house in case something happened. But we're going to pick 2 highlighters at random. Fire opal and chocolate opal. Oh, no worry, Alexandra. I'm glad you're here. So this is fire opal, described as yellow, orange. That's what it's described as, literally. And this is chocolate opal. Woo! So we got 2 opals. Woo! Did she do? No, she don't do prenups. But she never gives up her house. And so, but they do combine finances. And so that I find curious. And so it's like on one hand, you're new school where you keep your house, but on the other hand, you old school and y'all combine finances. And so how that came about is well, not that part, but this is what got my brain going. Ooh, look at that. You see all the gradients. She texted me basically to tell me that he bought her, bought is a word. He bought her a new 2022 Lexus. And I'm thinking, well, it ain't new. It's 3 years old, which means it probably was on a good sale. But anyway, that's not what we're here about. We're going to take a clean one and go into fire opal. I would wear it to split the house. And so we're going to just put this a little bit right here. Not a lot, because this makes me toasty. Thank you. Hey, Sons of Ray, thank you. We're talking about what defines us, and we're talking about societal, family, and religious norms, and how they may or may not identify who we are. And so what we're really talking about now within that context are women who their identity is wrapped up in a man. Like women who will not be single except for like a month. They'll meet somebody, they like them, they move in, they get married, and that's it. Yeah, and Dawn talking about she dates usually at work. I've never done that because that's too close. I'm just like, nah, if something happen, I don't want to be, nah. And so, no judgment, no judgment. We're going to do our inner rims. We're going to put Pool Shark on our inner rims, and we're going to put Aqua Green on our lower lash line. Yes, I did use, I don't even think she's in here. OMG, I had a whole breakdown around Michelle says she's feeling the makeup big time. Thank you. Oh, don't even talk about J-Lo, because there's a thing here on YouTube. It's a short that this dude was doing her dances that she did at whatever award show it was, and it was titled something like, "What is J-Lo doing?" And so I looked at it and I'm like, and we know Jenny from the block got some moves, but that, I was like, I sent it to 3 friends of mine. One of them text back, what did you send me and why? Because she was looking straight crazy. I'm just like, the choreographer should have been fired. But yeah, I know you're talking about all the marriages though. And so and so I'm thinking, number one, it was on a good deal because it's a 3-year-old vehicle, even though it's brand new, right? And they combine their finances. And so you're saying he purchased you this brand new car, but your finances are joint. So you pay for that too. So I was just like, but that's what got my mind thinking about this pattern, old school versus new school, or like the 1940s wife versus the modern woman type of thing or whatever. And it's just what identifies you. And there are some women, she's married to, her backup dancers were 1 and 1. I don't think she married actors. That's too close. That's too close. I was eyeing a neighbor in the next building over, and I'm like, no, that's too close. That's too close. I'm like, nah. Oh man, I just hit this on my mirror. I was like, that's too close. I ain't doing that. This dude I broke up with from New Jersey, he would pop up knocking on my door, and it's like a 40-minute ride. And I wouldn't let him in. I would say, I'll come sit on the step. He's like, I done drove all this way. I said, I didn't invite you down here and you didn't ask me, could you come? So, but imagine if he lived closer than that. He would have been here all the time. I come out of church. He's like, hey, D. And I'm like, what the fuck? I come out of church cursing. What the fuck is he doing? Like, it was just awful. Yeah, Sarah. Um, Listen, I'm married a whole 20 years, and I can tell you I'm definitely not the same person after having children. I'm in the rediscovery stage. Exactly. And even being single, I'm divorced twice because the first one I suspected he was cheating. Because he started just disappearing at weird times. Because everybody has their pattern. You know what I mean? The second one I know for sure. I knew her name, I knew her address, I knew her license tag number, and he still denied it. And so that's the reason for my divorces is like, at least respect me to tell me the truth. And if I'm asking you and you're still lying about it, and I'm saying, well, let's go to therapy, because I was like, okay, maybe it's something they're missing from me. Okay, I'm not beyond thinking I'm perfect, or I'm like, maybe it's me or something that they want and they're missing, but they're getting it somewhere else as far as whatever. But they never wanted to go. And the second husband, he did go, but he was so closed off. The therapist, y'all, I wanted to laugh, but it wasn't funny. Because X was 6'5", and he was big, and he's sitting there, and the therapist trying to ask him stuff, and he's sitting there, and the therapist said to me, he was like, D, is this how he is at home? I said, absolutely. And I wanted to laugh, but it wasn't funny. He was just so not. Yeah, and so for me, Sons of Ray, if because there's going to be problems, there's going to be disagreements. If you don't even want to work through it, and that's the thing, then what are we doing here? And I told dude from Camden that kept popping up after we broke up, I said, I do love you, but loving you does not mean tolerating your bad behavior. Me loving you does not mean tolerating your abuse and your gaslighting. And the same with the husband. He was like, oh, well, you stay with the husband. I said, we made a commitment before God and man. We ain't do that. So it was easier for me to be like, nah. But if when I commit to a fault, and it really has to be something where I'm like, you have to either tell me or show me by actions that you are not committed. And once I see that, okay, we're done. Okay. Ain't nothing I can do because I'm not, if I'm gonna be in a relationship by myself, I'll just be by myself. Yeah, it's not easy. Janessa is divorced once. My ex-husband didn't have the decency to at least die. Oh, Janessa. I don't know if I can even finish reading that. He didn't have the decency to die. Janessa. So I couldn't make people refer to me as the widow Cole. LOL, just kidding. It's fine that he's still alive, I guess. Janessa, oh my God. And both marriages, y'all, I was working 2 jobs and they still was working 1 because both of them was bad with money. And so stuff is getting late notices. Look, I don't know how not to pay a bill. And so I'm like, one of us got to get another job, or both of us. Oh, well, I don't want you stressing more. Well, if the lights get cut off and whatever, that's more stressful to me. But neither one of them even wanted to put in extra physical work. So they both had 1 job, I had 2. I'm like, what the hell is this? And you got the nerve to be running around. What? So anyway, I had to read that twice. I did too, Sons of Ray. When I read the first part, I was just like, Janessa is funny. I still think people, says Dawn, I still think people expect things should be perfect. People compare themselves to other couples that look like everything's perfect. And that was the thing too. I realized that both of the husbands, y'all, this is so friggin' nuts. Both of them said to me the same exact thing in the same exact way. And what they said was, and they didn't know each other. They didn't know each other. And then, of course, it was like years and years apart. They both said to me, I just want you to be my wife. And I said, I've been your wife since I was at the altar and said, I do. So like, what do you mean, be your wife? And they couldn't explain to me what they meant. They both said the same exact thing, the same exact way. I just want you to be my wife. I'm like, I've been your wife. Like, what do you mean? And they couldn't explain it. What I realized is both of their parents, the father worked, the mother stayed home. And even if the mother worked, it was from home. Because the second one, his mom had an in-home daycare center. And so, and both of them, their mom always wore dresses, had long hair. If one of them, their hair started falling out, they wore long hair wigs. So they expected me to be like that. And I told them, particularly the second one, I said, I'm not your mom and you're not your dad. And so I agree with you. They think, they compare. And how do you think your relationship is going to be exactly like someone else's? Because when people are out, they show you their best. You don't see all the ins and outs and all the drama and all the bullshit. But I was just like, I've been your wife. Like, what are you talking about? And they couldn't explain it, so that told me it was some bullshit. But you know what? I'm not faulting either one of them. I'm not, because I'm the one that said yes to the proposal, and I'm the one that went through with the marriage and said, yes, I will take this man. So it was a learning lesson. The thing is, y'all, is to learn. Um, and I didn't want to get divorced the second time because most of the women on my mom's side were or are in their second marriage, and I'm like, this is like a family pattern of behavior here. And so I'm like, go to therapy, blah blah. But if they don't want to work at it, I can't do the work for you. And if I'm the only one working at it, like, what am I doing here? Because clearly you're disrespecting me because you don't even be honest to tell me what's the truth. But you are the wild child. Chanel said, I love you for it. Hey, Tanya. Tanya, before I forget, I did try the Sunday Raleigh aquamarine belt. And each time I used it, I took detailed notes. And so I'm not going to use it as the makeup remover in a live stream because we'll get to that at the time. But I did use it both as a cleanser and as a remover. That's going to actually be a video. And it might just be like an extra video. And while I'm speaking of this, y'all, and I know I switched topics, I might double up because days when I do live streams, Monday and Thursday, I usually don't schedule a video in the morning. But I think I'm going to start doing that because doing the Creative Art with Heart collabs, I've been posting those to air on Saturdays. The one I did the other day is scheduled for July 1st. And I'm like, and so I might start doubling up. And the reason I don't like to do that is because when I post stuff, I'm asking for your time to watch it. And I don't want to overwhelm y'all with content, especially knowing that we all watch different people. You're trying to break the generational curses. And the thing is just imagine fumbling Dion. So it's just like grow up. And me being a critical thinker too didn't help because I married people that didn't think. And so I would say stuff and they're like, huh? And I'm just like, oh my Lord. Like I can't even have a conversation. But it's my fault too because I said yes. I own my shit. I really do. Yeah, definitely. I can't blame him for everything because I was there too. Yes, Janessa, exactly. And I was just making choices the same as he was. Exactly. Exactly. And the second one, between when I found out for sure that he was cheating, it still took me 2.5 years to leave because I was like, can I be content living this life? Because I know a lot of marriages, the husband is running around and the wife is just like, I don't see anything. I don't know anything. We all see it. We all know. And I'm like, do I have that in me to be that way? And I'm like, and it came down to, I'm not going to live a lie. I'm not going to be walking around with him smiling. We sitting in church together and he's singing, doing his little solos and stuff. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And I'm like, and you can't tell me God is pleased with me faking either. And or him cheating to me, acting like I don't know. Nah. So yeah, but it took me 2.5 years to decide to leave. Because then I'm like, okay, all my family history and all that. I was like, so that was a hard one. But thank you, Tanya. Yeah, I got some situations. So she's old school in a sense where she don't want to, and what it is they don't want to live in sin, but they will temporarily, because it's usually at least 6 months that they'll live together or the dude will move in before they get married. And so I'm like, where's the line? Because if you're going to say it's religion that you don't want to live in sin, then why are you out seeing this man? Why are you visiting his place and staying weekends? He come to you and stay for the weekend. And then he moves in with you. And then 7, 8 months later, then y'all get married. So to me, I'm like, yeah. And so that's the thing. And I know a few people like that too. They have that pattern and it comes down to they don't want to live in sin. So they want to get married. And then I think, like, is God pleased with that? Like, just be true to yourself. If you just want to live together, just live together. But don't say you're getting married because you don't want to live in sin and y'all been screwing for 9 months. Like, what? And he's been living with you for 9 months. What? I know a handful of people like that. And I think that for those women, their identity is wrapped up in the man. Like, I'm not a woman if I don't have a man. And I do know some people look some people think that way, and I've heard people say, "Oh, I just want to be with someone and be happy." Be happy. You don't need a person to make you happy. Is there a reason he didn't end the marriage since he was cheating and you knew? Because he didn't want to. He didn't want to admit that he did something wrong. He was the type of person that would never admit that he did something wrong. He wanted to look like the perfect person. For you, it was continuing to live in sin. But if y'all both really love each other and you commit, because that's the thing I tell people. Tina said it. What's love got to do? Got to do with it. And so you do have to have that commitment. And some people don't have that commitment. And some people don't know what love is. And like I was saying, I told dude, loving somebody doesn't mean tolerating their bad behavior. There needs to be a commitment. I talk about Rosa in Anzai country a lot. The Ugandan woman who lives in rural China. When she first went to meet him, she said they argued a lot because they were using translation apps. She spoke English and Ugandan. He only spoke Mandarin. And she was saying that they argued a lot because they weren't understanding each other. And they got to a point where they were like, let's just stop using the apps. And so she was, I forget, she said what name of the show it was that she watched, but it was a show that she used to watch that it helped her understand the language. And so she's been there 10 years now. So she's very fluent. Like you would think she was born there. Also, I understand it's not my responsibility for my spouse's happiness. Girl, I know. And some people don't know that. And I hear people say, I just want to be with somebody that's going to love me and make me happy. And I'm like, nobody can make you happy. And I thought about Cassie because when she, in the Sean case, all those times when she was like, I just wanted him to love me. I just wanted to be happy and cared for. And I'm like, if you don't know how to do that for yourself, nobody's going to be able to do that for you because you don't even know what it is. You don't know what it feels like. And when I meet people, my question is to myself, what do they add to my life? Are they adding to the quality of my life? Because I don't need anybody's money. I don't need to move in with nobody. But do I enjoy your company? Do I enjoy talking to you? Like, do we, you know what I mean? And so that took me back to her saying, I just wanted somebody to love me and I just wanted somebody to take care of me. And she got married and now she got a few kids. And so some women's identity, because of how we're raised, grow up, get married, have kids, period. And it only works for so long. We know of a lot of empty nesters. Once the kids go to college, they break up. And so people saying, oh, I stayed, we stayed together for the kids. They know when something's wrong. I have family members who, one bedroom is over here, one bedroom over there. It's like Will and Jada, except they don't be doing all the entanglements. But I'm like, people aren't stupid. Like, we know y'all just sharing space at this point. But that's what it is, though. They don't want to have the stigma of being divorced. And me as a Christian woman, I'm like, dang, I'm getting divorced 2 times? Like, what? You know what I mean? So that was, one of the things, too, I thought about. And then I'm like, I don't want to be like almost every other woman in the family. But then it's like, do I want to live a lie like other women in the family? And I was like, no, I don't. Like, God, I could not be convinced that God was going to be pleased with that. But, and I could be wrong. I'm just saying what I believe. But, and so what do y'all think about that? That some people do wrap their identity up in other people. And on the flip side, some men are like, well, I just need to, take care of, buy the house, whatever. But it's more to it than just physical stuff. And so that's a family expectation too, and a religious expectation too, to be the provider. Excuse me. It is definitely a lesson, Sons of Ray. And the thing is that some people don't want to learn. They're just so stuck with what they learned before. And that's why sometimes I say we have to unlearn our childhood behaviors and the reasons why, and then learn how to be who we are as adult people. Learn who we are now today and not still living off of childhood lessons. Because as we grow, look, when I was a child, I thought as a child, spoke as a child, did as a child. When I became a man, put away childish things. But some people don't do that. That's true, but I think that's a hard lesson. It is definitely hard. Sometimes you feel so unhappy inside, it's easier to reflect that outward to try to find someone to make you happy than to look inward. I agree. I agree. But what's the price you pay in the end? You know what I mean? Thank you, Sons of Ray. The one on the inner rims. The one on the inner rims is Pool Shark from MAC. I know you're talking about this one. Sons of Ray, this is NYX. This is NYX Cosmetics. Retractable eyeliner, and the shade is aqua green. NYX. And I have a silver one. It shows up. This is bright. That shows up real nice. And I have a gold one, but it's not called gold, is it? This one is Amber Stunner. All of these show up. They show up this color. And for this to show up on me, like y'all know it's for real. But yeah, this is NYX. NYX Cosmetics Aqua Green. So yeah, so men, and that's why some of them don't know, like, there's more to being a husband than just earning money and paying bills. Like, what about the care, the concern, the love, the consideration, you know, all of that stuff. But back in the day, that's what it was. He'd go out and work, the woman stay home, and that's it, and raise the kids. I work more than my husband, but he has it harder, running with the kids and their appointments and everything. Exactly. People be like, oh, what do she do all day? Shit. I don't have kids, but I've babysat my nieces and nephews. You do not. I learned quick. When they take a nap, I take a nap. Because they would take a nap, I start cleaning up or fixing something. No, when they take a nap, you take a nap. Because that's the only time you get to sleep. Like, it is nonstop. Especially when they're younger. It is nonstop. And when they start learning to walk and running, nonstop. My best friend has established an online ministry, has a doctorate in theology, and travels as a Christian leader, speaking on various topics, paid love donations, and it's on her third marriage. So, yeah, I'm going to tell y'all this. My dad has always been a preacher, always been a preacher. He in his fifth marriage. And he does, and when he went into the Army, he was a chaplain in the Army. He did like 25, 26 years. And then when he came out, he was chaplain for Arizona Department of Corrections. He's always been a preacher ever since he was like out of high school. He's in his fifth marriage. And the thing is, though, I think, sorry to poke y'all in the eye, I think that for him, it's the same thing. Don't want to live in sin. But he would also let them move in and live in for like 6 months at least. But the plan was, move in, 6 months, we get married. And I'm like, well, if you two know you're going to get married, why wait 6 months? Oh, just to be sure. Oh, so you weren't sure? Preacher? Man, did you pray about it first? I'm just saying. So it's so that's why when people try to tell me things, I'm just like, you act like I ain't lived any. And I'm not saying I can't learn, because I can. But there's reasons why I'm where I'm at. And sometimes I see myself in younger people. When they say certain things, I'm like, you know what? I was like that once too. But then when the reality of life hits you, and when you really start soul searching, and if you do believe that the Lord is with you, then who are you to come at me? You know what I'm saying? Because what he's saying, think is far more important than what somebody want to tell me. But that's also being secure in your relationship with whoever, whatever you believe in. And I don't consider myself a religious person. I consider myself a spiritual person. But that's a different thing. But some people don't want to, and that's the thing. They don't want to live in sin, but yet they do. An example, eons ago, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. I don't even know how I met this guy. I think we met walking around a park or something, and he started talking to me, exchanged numbers. Yeah, why wait? If you know, why wait? We knew we were going to get married, but we lived together for 6 months to be sure. Okay, but okay. Don't tell me nothing. You should get married. Y'all should. But you. What they say, Sons of Ray, you live in a glass house, don't throw no stones. And it's a double standard. Even growing up, men play around, they cheat, have multiple, sex partners, they're a playboy. A woman, a female, a teenager, girl sleep with 2 dudes and she's a whore. Really? And even biblically, They had whorehouses back then. But it was like if you see a prostitute out on the street, she gets stoned and talked about. But who's the men that's going to go see her? Who's the married men that's going to see her? But it's okay. Listen, don't tell me nothing. But that's the world in which we live, and so we're taught, be meek and quiet as a woman and take care of the kids, and the men can do whatever they want. It's a double standard. I tell you what, them days is over for me, and it never made sense to me. It never made sense to me. It's gotten better, but there's still so much stigma about divorce. It's judgmental, yeah. People make mistakes sometimes. They shouldn't be punished by feeling trapped in that situation. Exactly. Like, number one, I'm not judging anybody, so don't come to me with your BS. Because I'm the one that lived in my shoes. You got to walk in your own. As a single woman and was immersed in the church, I tried my best to live by spiritual principles when dealing with men. I tried my best to be Ruth, wait on my Boaz, and it was hard. Yeah, and some of these churchmen, some dudes will go to church to find a church girl, and next thing you know, neither one of them in church, and they living somewhere else together. I've seen it happen. This one guy, it was funny in a way, but it wasn't. He said it was this lady at church. He was like, most of the single men wanted to be with her, but she wouldn't be with them. And they like, this one guy started coming to church. They were like, we don't know where he came from, but within like a month, her and him left the church together. And I'm like, damn. So he just came in and smashed the church and grabbed her and ran. And I'm just like, what? That to me just sounded crazy. And I heard that they said, if you want a good woman, go to church. Just because you in church don't mean you're trying to learn about the Lord. People go for different reasons. But that to me was just crazy. I'm like, are you serious? He was like, yeah. He came in and smashed and grabbed. Both of them was gone. I was like, damn. But that's the standard. And so do we identify ourselves by our association or our relationship status? Oh, so that guy I met, I was telling y'all about, he was Muslim. And our first few comments, that definitely double standard. Growing up, my dad would actively tell me that if it was a boy, he would encourage me to play women and sleep around. But I'm a lady, so I need to protect my innocence. If it was a boy, he would encourage you to play woman and sleep around. I don't understand that. Your dad would tell you to sleep around? I'm missing something. And y'all know I had these moments too. I own my stuff. Sometimes I forgot to put on my hourglass powders. Like sleep with as many. Oh, he wanted you to. Sex is still sex, regardless if the person has the same genitalia as you do. Like, it's still sex. So this Muslim dude. So we were texting, because I prefer text messages when I first meet somebody, because I might not know what you mean, but I know what you said. And I can go back and be like, such and such day, you wrote such and such. Like, you're not going to gaslight me into thinking you really ain't say what you said. I have no idea for this palette what we're going to do. And I didn't spray my face either. I have no idea what we're going to do. I said in the beginning, this is my 9th look with this palette. But when I look back over all the looks I did, only 3 were distinctly different. Let's just do stuff. All right, let's just get started. We're going to take, what does that say? Fluorescence, this shade up here. It is something in this eye. I can feel it. So I was telling him, like, when I meet somebody new, if we're dating, sex is not a part of dating for me. It is not. Excuse me. To me, dating is get to know you and just getting to know if I enjoy being around you, not getting to know if I like having sex with you. And so usually there's not a second date, seldom there's a 3. And I've been told by Christian and non-Christian men that I'm too slow because I don't have sex by the second date. I'll be slow. I'll be slow. And I told my dad that. I said, because he was like, why are you dating men that's not Christians? And then sometimes, I might be dating a Caucasian person. I said, let me tell you about your Christian brethren, Dad. They said I'm too slow because I don't have sex as a part of dating. I need to have a commitment. And I am polyamorous. And that's what we talked about earlier was the commitment. Oh, Rosen Anzai. She was going to go back home to visit her family in Uganda. And people were like, what if she don't come back? What if she don't come back? And she did come back. It was like a month or so she did come back. And he had said that he wanted her to come back, but I didn't know if she really was or not. And if she would not have come back, I would have been sad. But at least I know that she's, with her family. And she said, of course I was coming back. We made a commitment to each other. And I was like, wow. So I don't know how long it was from when she met him and stayed and then went home and came back, and when they got married, I don't know. I don't know what that time frame was. But she was like, of course I was coming back. We made a commitment. So they had made a commitment before she even went back to Uganda to visit her family. And that hit me because I'm like, it is about commitment. Love is great. But you got to have mutual commitment. And then I'm going to take this shade right here. This shade is Rue. And I was just like, wow. So for her, it was simple. She's like, she said, we made a commitment. Of course I was coming back. I was like, wow. Because if you're committed to working things out, if both of you are committed to working things out, it is going to work out. There's going to be differences. There's going to be disagreements. But if you want to run, or if you want to just run at the first sign of trouble, first of all, neither one of you are going to grow from that if you're always running from stuff. We grow from lessons. We grow from things that happen. But there are some women that, like, they don't feel complete unless they have a man. I've known some women who, I just want to get married and have kids. And what's ironic is that I knew when I was a teenager, when I was like 13, I never wanted kids. And I do admit it was because of how I was raised and how I grew up and the situations I was in and inner city type stuff. I was like, why bring a life into this hellhole? And so I am aware of why I've never wanted kids. And so women will say, why did you not want to have kids? I'll say, why did you want to have kids? And they never have an answer. So I don't say my answer. So it's just like, I'm just supposed to just meet a dude and get married. And I know some women, they might have 5 kids and 5 baby daddies because they think if I'm with you, I'm supposed to have your baby. And I'm just like, that, okay. It ain't for me to say nothing. How come you never wanted kids? I said, how come you always wanted kids? They never have an answer. But it does shut them up. Because they're like, they don't have nothing to say. They don't know what to say. But, and so talking about dating with this Muslim dude, he was like, oh, such and such, da, 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 da. And my friend who's Muslim, she was like, first of all, he's out of line. I was like, what? She was like, if you follow whatever it says, it's a certain person within the religion that you go and talk to. Like if you meet somebody and you like that person, you think you're going to be together, both of y'all go together, talk to this counselor person and agree to get married or not. And then if you agree, then you get married. She's like, there is no dating. And I'm like, oh. So I told him what she said. He ghosted. And she said some Muslim men will do that, thinking that Christian women or women in general don't know like how they should be living. He ghosted. And then like a couple years later, he popped back up and y'all, I'm like, I could see right through this. So he was like, well, don't you want to get married? Like, don't every woman want to get married and say she has a husband and not a boyfriend? I said, first of all, when I'm dating somebody, I don't call them a boyfriend because he's not a boy and I'm not a girlfriend. I'm not a girl. He's a man. I'm a woman. So I'll call them, my person or my partner. I said, we ain't no boy girl thing. And so he was trying to put it like, well, don't you want to, have somebody? And don't you want to be able to say, you have a boyfriend or you have a husband? And I was just like, life is more than that. Like, for me anyway. And so he ghosted again. All right. And we got the text messages. I got the text messages. Even when somebody ghosts me, I keep the messages. So a couple years later, he popped up again and he was like, well, we should get married. Like, don't you want to say that you have a husband? He said, because I don't want to live in sin. I'm like, there it is. He didn't want to live in sin, but he was trying to say, oh, don't you want to be, be a wife? And don't you want to say you have a man? And it came down to, he didn't want to live in sin. Just speak the truth, dude. Speak the truth. And it was just ironic, Alexandra, how every time he popped back up a year or two later, it was a different twist. It was a different story. First it was like, oh yeah, we could date. Second time is, don't you want to have a man? Don't you want to say, you're married? Don't you want to say you have a husband? And then the second time he was like, yeah, because I just want to get married because I don't want to live in sin. And he already had a wife. But Muslim men can have more than one wife. But according to my friend, whatever you do for one, you do for the other. If you buy this one a house, you buy that one a house. And she said that's why a lot of them don't have 2 or 3 wives, because if they're not wealthy, they can't support everyone fully. Yeah, so every time he came back, he was a different twist. That last time I said, yeah, that's what it is. You didn't want to live in sin. I'm going back to comments. Dawn, you need to do a video with that palette. Oh, some of the shades are similar to Bloom. Do you have Bloom? If you do, you should do a, let me get it right. Why you don't need one of the palettes. Alexandra, a lot of people don't know what it means to keep your word or stand by what you say. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but sometimes you gotta get the hell out of Dodge depending on what is going on. Sometimes it's not worth sitting around and try to work it out. I will try to work it out. But if you show me or tell me that you're not willing to put in the effort, then why am I here? Because it's not going to be a healthy relationship if only one of us is putting in effort. It's not. I've gone in and out with wanting kids. My brother was born when I was 10, so he was basically mine since my mom worked nights. People always seem to be baffled that I don't want kids. And they never can answer why they always wanted them. But you're asking me why I don't. I always wanted kids, but I can see why some may not. Dodge the bullet. You have 4, and I don't judge those who don't want kids. You have to really want to be committed 24/7. And some don't think about that, because some women, whatever guy they with, they pop out a baby, and I'm just like, damn. Okay. One of my a family member was dating a guy. He was dating a girl, and she had 2 kids, and they had different fathers. No judgment whatsoever. And I said, come here, let me talk to you for a minute. I said, I want you to be careful with her because she's fertile. And the kids was only a couple years apart. So it's like I was saying, you meet somebody you like them, pop out a baby. And I told him, I said, wrap it up. I said, wrap it up. She fertile. They ended up getting married, right? Now they got 2 of their own. So 2 of hers from before. And then I said, I told you. I have a lot of religious trauma, pretty common for queer people. And I was really into church stuff when I was a teen. But when I saw how people of my former faith talked about church folk, some of them be the worst. 24/7 until they are no longer on earth. Oh, you don't have Bloom Dawn? Okay. Alexandra says her oldest is 17 and I worry about him just like I did when he was a baby. Yeah, fertile myrtle. And I know some dudes like that too. Condoms is a thing, y'all. I'm just like, y'all. Damn. Now we're going to go. Okay, so we used this one on the first portion of the lid. Can't really tell, right? This one's on the center of the lid. So we're going to go with Ember. This one down here. And so, but there are some people who wrap their identity up in having a man. A not so recent, but also not so distant situation. Was talking to this guy from Plenty of Fish, and I have it on my profile. I'm polyamorous. But for me, it's not about sex. It's about commitment. It's about, if I enjoy being in your company as a person, if we can have intellectual conversations. And I already told y'all, sex is not a part of me dating. And so this guy, he would pop in and out too, as men seem to do, especially on these apps. And so the last time he popped in, he was saying how, he think every man should have 2 women because that's the only way he's going to be content with his life. And I'm like, and he didn't say he was Muslim. He didn't say what he was, and I didn't ask. And so I had told him, I said, well, I have on my profile, I'm polyamorous. And he said to me, well, in the text, because all this was over text messages, he said to me, I should have did that when I was younger. And I said, I just told you I'm polyamorous. I've always been polyamorous. So it's not something I do. And it ain't about sex for me. Some people do use polyamory just to be like, oh, they just get to be with whoever. I don't, Mm-mm. It ain't like that for me. And so then he was like, a man isn't going to tolerate that for long because men don't trust other men. I thought that was one of the silliest things I've ever heard. Instead of being concerned with trusting a man you don't know and will never meet, why not just trust a woman you're with that says that she cares about you and she values you and she's committed to the relationship y'all have? What about that? So I'm just like, what? Why you need to trust a man you don't know and will never meet? And I know it's a sex thing. Men will be okay if you're bisexual and you sleep with other women, but you better not sleep with another man. And I tell you what, I've never known any woman that has left a man for another man because the other man was better at sex. Like, never. And most men over 50 have ED issues. And so if you live in your life as a man thinking it's all about, the size of your dick or how well you have sex, wait till you start having them issues. Then what? So their identity, some of them, is wrapped up in their genitalia and how good they can give it. And it's like, yeah, I don't want her sleeping with other men. They don't say it, but it's an ego thing. What if he's better in bed than me? She's going to leave me. That's just silly. Why you need to trust another man you will never meet and that you don't know? Trust the woman that you're with, that she's committed to you. And you can be committed to more than one person. But I was just like, this guy. And that was a double standard too. So you're telling me men should have two women. So I'm thinking that's when he would disappear. It's because he had a second woman, and when he would, lose one, then he would come back. And we never did meet in person. But I'm like, you're telling me you think men should have two women, but a woman can't have another man. So even with that, and he says he's always above board. He always lets, both know what's going on, which is a form of ethical non-monogamy. It's just keeping it, 100 and just saying what it is and what's going on. But to tell me a man ain't going to tolerate that. Well, first of all, this is who I am. So if you don't accept who I am, it ain't going to never be nothing anyway. So I'm just like, you can keep on with that. So after that conversation, I didn't hear from him again. But I'm just like, so you telling me okay, nah. And in the polyamorous world, they call that poly for me, but not for thee, meaning I could sleep around, but you can't. And it's not even, like I said, for me about sex or having sex. So it's just like, yeah, some men, their identity is wrapped up in their genitalia. And for some women, their identity is wrapped up in a man. And I understand not wanting to live in sin. Just be wise with who you choose to marry. And not just get married because you want to just keep having sex with this person. But, my kid's father has about 8 kids, 2 by me, and at least 5 other mothers. He fertile. Alexandra says, my husband and I love our kids, but Lord help us sometimes. Oh, well, they take turns driving us crazy. At least they take turns. She does this as the ones who say things like that are never the ones who are poly. Exactly. And I didn't even tell him that's a form of ethical non-monogamy when you telling your persons that you're with other people, because you're being honest about it. People say for my second marriage, why didn't y'all just have open marriage? I said, because you got to be honest, and he kept lying. So how are we going to have an open marriage when he's lying and he's seeing other people? I'm just like, the hypocrisy of it all, the irony of it all. They want 2 women, but those women want men, they lose their mind. Yeah, because they thinking about, oh, he going to give it to her better than me. First of all, both y'all going to end up with ED issues. So if your identity is wrapped up in having sex, you better buy that penis pump and get Viagra now and just have it on standby. And that's what makes it so silly to me. More than one woman is allowed to work. I would never want 2 men. Forget that. And the only way that would work for me being polyamorous is if they weren't like both local. You know what I mean? Because then it's like scheduling and planning and dates and stuff like that. I couldn't have 2 men. One is enough. And that's real talk, Sons of Ray. When you and your partner are locked in and you have your life together and you have children together and you're committed, that's a lot. That's a lot. Like, there's no time to think about, oh yeah, let me contact George because I ain't seen him in 3 weeks. When you're really locked in like that and having kids, that's a lot. That's a lot, excuse me. And even if I was dating someone, I wouldn't date other people because I'm like, let me get acclimated and learn this person. Because some people, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm dating 3 people and we all just met like a month ago. And I'm like, how are you? You don't even get to know who's who that quick. And so I don't never like start different relationships or start dating, different people at the same time. Because I want to get to know who this person is and not have in my mind other stuff. And I know I think different because people, and for different people, polyamory is different. Some do it for the sex, some do it for whatever. Yeah, I was in a relationship with a guy about 9 years older than me. He was late 50s, and he was so worried about the sex. And there's things you can do. How was it? Was big enough? Was I going to leave for another man? And that's insecurity, and that tells me men don't know who they are. Like, what is your value as a person? If your value is saying I have a husband, if your value is, I got a big dick, that's not who you are. That's not your character. That's not your personality. Like, who are you as a person? And some people don't take the time to get to know that. And that to me is just so sad. I told him, do it for him, not for me. Oh, he wanted to get approval for Viagra. Do it for him, not for me. Yeah, that sucks. Him being older than you probably contributed to it. My husband's older than me. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and they say at least like 40% of men end up with ED issues. And so if you're wrapped up in the sex aspect, and that's why it's important for me to enjoy your company as a person, because at some point sex is out the window. But, and also being in the alternative community, being in the kink community, there's adult stores. You can go in there and buy toys. You can buy stuff to experience. Like, you can spice up your sex life. There's something you can do. There's always something you can do. If you can't penetrate, you better get a strap on. I mean, it's always something you can do, but you have to be willing to put in the effort and not feel bad about, oh my gosh, I need help to do this. Like, bad sex can be worked on. And some people don't seem to know that. Like, some people are just so wrapped up in it, and it's sad because your identity is in how well you have sex. Who are you as a person? What's your character? What are your morals? What are your ethics? You know what I mean? And that's what makes it hard for me to date, because I start talking and they be like looking at me like I'm speaking a different language. And then usually they disappear. I'm just like, I can't help it that I'm a critical thinker and that I like to figure stuff out and I like to understand things and I want to take my time to get to know people. Yeah, so now we're going to take Bark, this shade here. So that's that's almost all of my notes, is being raised to believe certain things, do certain things, but then growing up and still being locked into that instead of unlearning those things and relearning who we are as a person. And it can be challenging too, especially when, we talk about religion, because it's supposed to be great. And some people did hypocritical. Okay, we talked about the Muslim guy, the one with 2 women, blah, blah, blah. Serial marriage. That's kind of how we started. Meet a person, like a person, get married. Something happened, get divorced. Meet the next person, like the next person, get married. Just be by yourself and learn who you are. Like, their identity is wrapped up in having a man. And knowing people like that, it's just like, yeah, I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, that's everything in my notes. I went out of order, but that's what it was. Oh, no. One last thing I have on there. This dude. Okay, we're going to take Bark. On Plenty of Fish, he was saying how for him it was a strange experience being on Plenty of Fish. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said because women always ask him, like, what's your job? How much money you make a year? Do you own your own house? Do you own your own car? And I was like, really? Because I don't never ask those things. And maybe because I'm independent and self-sufficient. Like, I don't care as long as you can maintain and take care of yourself. Because I ain't taking care of you like you a child. Because I ain't got none. I ain't taking care of a grown person like they're a child. And so I'm like, really? I'm like, why they ask you that? And he said, because they're divorced and they're looking for somebody to take care of them. And I'm like, and I had never thought it. I'm like, damn, really? He was like, yeah. He said, you'd be surprised. I said, I am surprised. Because that ain't even nothing I think about. How much money he make? Do he got a job? My thing is, do you live alone? Because if you got roommates, that's telling me something wrong. Unless you're young, because a lot of young people do have roommates. But if you're like 50 and you got a roommate, I'm like, like a same-sex roommate, and y'all not, that tells me you need help with finances. And so I'm just like, but I thought that was like, what? He said, yeah, they're looking for somebody to take care of them. I'm just like, damn. And that's that old school. You get married, 40s, 50s, 1960s. You get married, he work, he buy the house, you take care of the kids, then y'all get divorced, and you moving in with your sister because you can't afford or don't have the means to support yourself. And so then when they start dating, they're looking for the next husband to take care of them. Yo, let me see what I miss. We never have time for adult fun, says Alexandra. Thanks, kids. Plus, life kicks in, work. Yeah, elderly parents. Yep. You have to be comfortable without it, with each other. Exactly. And that's the thing. If I know you and I appreciate you and love you as a person and you stimulate my intellect, sex is irrelevant. And again, it can be fixed. There's stuff you can do. That sex can be fixed, but I need to enjoy your company. If I don't enjoy your company, I ain't even thinking of having sex with you. If I can't have an intellectual conversation with you, I'm not even thinking of having sex with you because I'm not enjoying spending time with you because we can't have an intellectual conversation. Exactly. And it is a point where a lot of marriages, it does turn sexless at some point for whatever reason. Exactly. My fruit snacks are for me. Bring your own. Exactly. Bring your own Mountain Dew. Speaking of which, I didn't even drink any. I think I had one sip today. And I do have my tea with lemon in it. Y'all, this lemon has been in here for like 4 days. I just keep putting more tea in it. And because it's been 4 days, it's like really lemony like that, which I love. So I still put the tea in a 40-ounce thing, but because I wanted to start adding lemon, I didn't want it to erode the inside of whatever that tumbler is. And so I put some in here, and I have another plastic container with a straw in it that I have the rest of the tea in from that 40-ounce. But yeah, so at some point, and if you make it to like your 70s and your 80s, sex is the last thing people thinking about. Tanya said, I need to know if you have ever been in jail and for what. Are you involved with anyone or is anyone involved with you? You made me think of the Sean trial because when I think it was Mia, she was saying, she was in a relationship with him. Somebody commented she was in a relationship with him. He wasn't in a relationship with her. And then at one point, the text messages, he had said, well, we're in an open relationship. Okay, listen. Being in an open relationship is not paying for an escort to sleep with your girlfriend and you watch and sit in the corner and masturbate. That is not an open relationship. Open relationship is when y'all both see other people, not you paying to watch people. And I know that because I'm in that community, but I'm just like, that is not an open relationship. Paying people to sleep with her and you sitting in the corner watching and jerking off and giving them instructions. Like, you the porn director? Like, what the hell? Yeah, and if you still live with their kids' mother, right. But nothing is going on, right? Hey, shoe lady, how are you? We're having like a really conversation. The older guy had a bad habit of always wanting to share my food and my snacks and goodies. Order what you want, get the goodies you like. He said I was selfish. I'll be selfish, nigga. Get your own shit. And let me eat. And I am a food sharer. Okay, you got lasagna. I got shrimp scampi. Have a little bit of my shrimp. I'll take some of your. I do share food. But you ain't going to not have nothing and just come and take my. No. Hell to the no. Dating in my 40s is like trying to find the least broken thing at a thrift store in a bad part of town. Janessa, I was so disillusioned. I think I was 42? Second marriage divorce. I thought people my age and older would want to settle down. I was disillusioned. They want to be like, I'm like, first of all, you never play football and you acting like you the football captain and acting like you're the football captain still in high school. Dude, you 50-something years old. Like, grow the hell up. It was just ridiculous. I was so disillusioned because I'm like, people are going to want to settle down. Not necessarily marriage, but just be committed and be honest and not be hoeing around thinking, oh, I'm a playboy, but let me do it and then I'm a slut. Okay. Yeah, it's the playboys that's sleeping with the sluts. How about that? Like, what the fuck? But yeah, the least broken thing. And my thing is, I tell people, I don't care if you have issues. Y'all know I got my issues, and I'll be telling y'all my issues. My thing is, are you working on your issues? Are you working on being a better person? And not for me, but for yourself. Because I know I'm constantly working on me. Are you working on yourself? Everybody got issues. Just own your own shit and deal with it. And I'm like, just because I'm a therapist, I ain't your therapist. You better go get one. Don't order chicken tenders and try to eat all my ribs. He get a rib, you get a tender. Greetings from California. How is it? I saw some news tidbits on the protest. Y'all, they was showing out. I was like, damn, all these people out here. Thank you, Mr. We're having a discussion, like a serious discussion. I mean, we're it's serious, but we're not being like type of thing. Make sure y'all thumbs up. And for the new people here, I do have a channel membership. If that's something that you would be interested in, just click the link. It'll show you what the perks are. It will not automatically cause you to join, but if the perks are worth it to you, we would love to have you. I'm looking for another E45. This is another E45 because this one we use that outer corner color. This that we just put it outer V did not show up over top of this. Did not. Thank you, Janessa. So we are, how you doing, mister? We're going to take a lighter shade. We're going to take, this is Keen, and we're going to put this for transition area. So what do y'all think? Like, have y'all, you know what, Shoe Lady, thank you for saying that. I do get 40% off because of my pro discount. And I am thinking of getting some different color eyeliners for my lower lash line, because most of the ones I have from MAC are darker shades, and so I'm thinking of getting like their lilac, and then they have like a pink or something. But I do get 40% off from them anyway. But that is good for everybody else to know. So what I'm gonna do, if I remember, y'all, actually after this video, if you go down into the description box, I have a shop my link for MAC. If y'all shop that, you will still have access to the sale, and I will earn some coin. So if you do plan on buying something from MAC, I would appreciate if y'all use my shop my link. It doesn't cost you anything to use my link, and you still will have access to the sale. So thank you, Shoe Lady, for saying that, because I forgot that they were having a sale. So if y'all looking to get MAC, this is the time. Tanya says, I was trying to figure out the No King protest because I didn't watch the news, and then I saw he tied in his... Y'all, they saying that that parade costs like $45 to $50 million. And what they showing the most on the news, and I did watch Reese Waters' video, what they show is that creek and tank driving down the street. I'm like, what the hell is this? What the And he's sitting there. And the dude behind him was like, $45-50 million. They cutting costs on healthcare, medical care. They cut USA Aid or whatever that company was. People losing their jobs. People losing their SNAP benefits. And you putting 45 to 50 million into that. Make that make sense. We're going to do our upper. I need to blend that some more. I'm getting hot. I'm going to turn this fan on over here that I purchased and hope to see if it's too loud. And so I would like for y'all to tell me if it's too loud. Y'all, how come I did set up all the, I did do all the manual sign-ins for all the streaming apps I have on my new TV. And the first day, Tubi did come on. And now it won't come on. It'll just say Tubi, but it won't actually go into what it is. And so I think I might need to uninstall it and then put it back, because I'm like, why did you work that one day? I'm going to turn this fan on. It ain't plugged in. All right, so I'm going to turn on this little fan back here, the one that I hate how it sounds in videos. Okay, I saw Pride something. Thursday is me and Janessa's. I'm yelling. I'm excited about, excuse me. We're going to, yeah, that's our Pride collab. And I didn't call it that, like straight up Pride collab, because I wasn't, I wasn't sure about where YouTube stands. And so we know there's this whole thing about, transgendered and, the discrimination and all of that. So I'm like, do I want to say pride looking at the title? But I did put it something like learning to take pride in yourself or something. I titled it because I was like, I don't know where YouTube stands with that. And I didn't want to, so I was like, what to do. But that is going to be our Pride collab on Thursday in a live stream. And y'all know we be having fun in our live stream. I was sad that Mac didn't do it. I was wondering what they were going to do this year. Janessa, that's all the shades. Like, they could not do another one. Unless they do the like 12 pans with that same packaging. But that's all the colors. And so it's like, what could they put in there? And I'm going to keep it forever. Because if the shadows go bad, which Mac to me lasts like a century. At least, no, that's over exaggerating. But they do last for me like close to a decade. And they are removable, so I can always just take those out and put in fresh ones if something turns. Yeah, I was waiting to see what they were going to come out with for this year. And she lady says you're welcome. Yeah, because I didn't know that. And I did recently post on my community tab the MAC 12 pans with other palettes. And Bestie Grace commented, dupe alert. So if y'all want some MAC, them 12 pans are really nice. And it is on my community tab if y'all want to see what they look like. And I do have a playlist for MAC pre-made palettes if you want to see the looks I did with those. They were so upset that the army was not marching. They were just wandering down the road. Because they were like, hey, why are we here? Nobody's really here to see us. Like, why? Like, what? That creaky tank, though? I was like, damn. Yeah, they got maybe 50,000 for the joke parade. Meanwhile, over 9 million, showed up for the protests around the country. Not a gold star day for 47. Yup. And he on there talking about, oh, we had a lot of people. Nobody showed up for the no protest parade. I never heard of, the no Kings parade. I'm like, we know he lying. We know he heard about that. And so for him to say his parade was better attended than the protest, that confirms he's delusional. Because we see the videos and the pictures, dude. Like, oh my gosh. I don't feel sorry for her. She chose him. And she's not from here. So I think that was just a marriage of convenience for her or a marriage for status or something. The faces she makes when she looks away from him is like she is in hell. She chose it. She chose it. Yeah, she's an immigrant. She ain't from here. She chose him. She is not an American. And by lineage, neither is he. He's German by lineage. I think it was like his grandfather or great-grandfather or somebody who came here. And they dodged the draft, too. I think it was his father also, one of them. So, yeah, he comes from draft-dodging family. Yeah, I don't feel bad for her. She chose that. And Barron, yeah, I do feel bad for him because he's still young. We'll see how he act when he get older. Because the older son, he just as bad as 47. Janessa says maybe... No, not maybe. Someday I may take the shadows out and try that way to repackage them into a clutch purse. Yeah. Yep, she chose that path. Alexandra, she said the Cheeto Yam face fool. We're going to take Crisp and put this under our brow. I don't feel bad for her at all. She married him for a reason and for a purpose. You cannot tell me she married him for love because he is not a smart man. Number one, almost every business he had went bankrupt. So he doesn't even have financial wisdom, but he has a loyal following. And that's how he stays in power. That's how he won the freaking election. Yeah, I don't feel bad for her at all. And just like I was saying about my exes, I don't fault them for my part because I had a part in that too. And so that's why I don't talk trash about them. I mean, when people talk trash about their exes, I'm like, yeah, but you agreed to be with them, so. Sometimes we are a reflection of our choices. Well, not a reflection of our choices, but sometimes we do have to deal with the consequences of our choices. And even if somebody is a straight up asshole, if we chose to be with them, even if before we knew, if we choose to stay, that's on us. I tell people, you may be a victim, but at some point, when you make the decision to stay, you become a volunteer. You've been with somebody 10 years. They've been beating your brains out for the last 7. You're a volunteer. And I understand it's hard to leave. I do understand that. But at some point, this eye is tearing. At some point, though, you have some accountability too. And again, I do know it's hard to get out. Lower lash line. We're going to put Equinox, that shade that she was like, ooh, that to me don't really look like nothing. We're going to put that on our lower lash line. But, Chico. Yeah, he bankrupted. How do you bankrupt a casino? I need to stop saying the house always wins. Because the house ain't win. how do you bankrupt a casino? How do you bankrupt hotels? Because people stop coming. But I'm just like, yeah, that's a good one. That's funny too. Because I know that he did, but I never really like thought about it. Yeah, how do you bankrupt a casino? The house supposed to always win. This is not showing up over the green. Well, you know what? When I turn, this eye is tearing. Like this right here, this is what this eye is tearing. Yeah, how do you bankrupt a casino? What is the secret to that? That is funny, you know, when I'm thinking about it. So what do y'all think about identity? Was there a time in your life that your identity was wrapped up in whatever your relationship was or wanting a relationship? And I do admit for me, that's why it was hard for me. It took me 2.5 years to decide to leave the second husband because of how it would look to other people. And it got to the point where, like, I'm not going to live a lie. And I'm not living my life according to how I think other people will view me or see me. You know what I mean? But it took me 2.5 years. And him not wanting to invest emotionally into therapy, that I was like, yeah, I'm not going to live my life like this. I'm not going to live a lie. And so, have any of you, and that's why this is shiny right here too, because this is wet. All of this is wet and it's traveling because my eye is tearing. So have you guys, and this looked like other looks I did. So have you guys, like when you learn to just accept who you are, do you realize that there was a time when you did live your life according to family, religious, and societal expectations, and your identity was wrapped up in a person? I met this lady. She bought something for me, and it turns out that I knew her from the community, the alternative community. And because she was donating stuff for Eclectic Beauty. And I'm thinking green, since we have green underneath, we're going to use this one right here. This duo is Cyber Craze. We're going to use this one at the top. It's tearing upward too. She was like, oh, because when people would donate and they were local, I would meet them in ShopRite parking lot. I'm like, you ain't coming to my house. I don't know you. And so when we saw each other, we're like, you look familiar. And so we figured out that we had knew each other from, a certain place. So she was like, so how you been? How you doing? Da, 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 da. And that's how she was doing. She's like, I'm doing okay. I'm in a new relationship. We've been dating about 2 months, but I don't know if I'm in love with him yet. Meanwhile, though, they were sexual since like the beginning. So they had been sexual at least a month and a half. And so you're telling me it's been 2 months and you don't know if you're in love with him. And I'm thinking, you being in love with him didn't matter when you were sleeping with him. Like, why now is that a concern? Like, I didn't say it to her, but in my mind, I'm like, if you've been sleeping with this man for almost 2 months, why does it matter now that you don't feel like you're in love with him? And for me, I used to not understand when people would say that. Like, what is being in love? And my Muslim friend, she said to her, in love is infatuation, or like you have a crush. Whereas when you love someone, it's like you know them, you respect who they are, you have a commitment, and you choose this person to be with this person and to be honest and committed to this person. And I'm like, you know what, that makes sense. Because I never knew what in love meant. But she said to her, in love is that infatuation. Not necessarily commitment, but just being infatuated with somebody. And I was like, oh. So when people are like, oh, I love him, but I'm not in love with him. I love her, I'm not in love with her. Because, as we said earlier, what's love got to do with it? What's love? See, now this is bleeding up here. This green liner. Y'all. This eye is tearing and it's bleeding. It's tearing up and it's tearing down. And so that was just strange to me, her saying that, because if it didn't matter, it doesn't matter if you're in love with him when you decide to start sleeping with him, but it matters now. Like, why? Like, what? I don't understand. And I wanted to ask her, but we weren't cool like that for me to get that personal with her like that. Like, why does it matter now? Apparently, it doesn't really matter. You've been sleeping with him for almost 2 months. And who actually loves somebody when they first meet them in the first place? And I have met women who, I knew this lady, y'all. She always slept with a guy the first or second date. And she was older than me. She's like, well, I just want to make sure that it works. And I'm like, well, at some point it's not, because she was like almost 10 years older than me. So the men she dated was, early 60s. So I'm like, at some point it ain't going to work anyway. So yeah, but she's like, oh, y'all sleep with them as soon as possible. I want to make sure it works. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she never had a man for long either. Because some men do just want to meet you to have sex with you. And that's what it seemed to turn out to be with her. And so, we talked about earlier, everybody has their patterns. But I was just like, Yeah, so the in love thing, for me, it's about commitment. And it goes back to like when Rosa said that. She was like, I don't know why you thought I wasn't coming back. We made a commitment to be together. And I was just like, so it was really that simple. We made a commitment. Of course I was coming back. But him, he was like, I didn't know if she was going to come back. I would have been sad if she didn't. She's like, well, we made a commitment. Of course I was coming back. And some people say, oh, they don't seem like they're in love. They're committed to each other, and they have a wonderful family. They work well together. They take care of each other. What more do you freaking want? And what's going on in your life that you all up in theirs? Hello. Don't buy a car without a test drive. I heard somebody say that. And it goes back to Janessa, though. At some point, there's going to be issues. Either menopausal and sex becomes painful for her and she doesn't lubricate, or she just completely loses interest, or his dick ain't going to work. So either way, sex is going to change. We're not in high school no more. We're not in our early 20s no more. So I'm just, oh, man. I'm going to put this on and put this on. I do like the green underneath. Yeah, this eye is tearing all kind of ways. That's when I got enmeshed in the church, LOL, the makeup and YouTube channel, and now my niece. I just traded one thing for another. Oh, she's saying it to Alexandria. What Alexandria said. Oh, I missed Tanya's comment. I was running my mouth. Didn't know. Okay, let me back up. You were looking at Meg's website and the lipsticks are beautiful but pricey. Where's that? That's their normal prices. That's why right now, use my Shop My link to the Mag store and get you some. I do love their formulas. And I actually have, I think, maybe at least 6 of them, the different colors in my Pro Kit. Because the Powder Kiss formula lasts really long. This one is my favorite for me because it's black. And the next darkest color is a purple shimmer. I'm like, why not just a dark purple matte? But I do love their matte retro liquid lip colors. That's what this one is. Matte retro liquid lip color. But their Power Kiss line, if you like liquid lipsticks, they do last. And they don't feel drying. Yeah, that is their normal prices. That's why now would be a good time to get them. Tanya said her identity was never wrapped up in a relationship, but being a mom and my job, oh boy, when those kids grew up, I didn't know what to do. And that's why a lot of people, even if they are married, when the kids go to college, they get divorced because their whole life is wrapped up into taking care of the kids, making sure the bills are paid, making sure they have clothes, making sure all of that. And then when the kids are gone, they're like, they looking at each other like, who are you? Like, they don't know who each one is. They don't know who they are because their life was wrapped up in the kids. And I do understand it. But a lot of people, empty nesters, they be like, see ya. Because they don't know who they are and they don't know who the other person is without taking care of the kids. Because they don't have that element anymore. Yeah, you didn't know who I was or what your purpose was. And that's what that's about. Their purpose was making sure, the kids were good, making sure this and that. So the kids are gone. So now what do I do? Like, that was my life, was taking care of the kids. They gone. What do I do? And they looking at each other and realize they don't even like each other. The husband and wife. Like, I don't even like you. Like, what? I don't know. Janessa says, I don't think my identity is wrapped up in it, but there is the one that got away. All of my relationships are viewed in comparison to that guy. I feel bad for the many risks. Janessa, stop it. Stop it. You are a gem, and you know you are. Stop playing. Alexandra says, it's hard to keep yourself when you care for so many other. Yeah. But I like to think I am still my own person. That's why here I do talk about self-care. You know, do something just for you. Take care of yourself. Oh my gosh. I need to just went off all by itself. I need to charge it. Dang it. Oh, let me put this on. As long as you're happy, Tanya, that's what's important. Yeah, and so test driving to me isn't a big deal. And that's why I don't include sex as the dating process, because I want to at least like the person for who they are. And people usually show you their best self, and as time goes on, it's like, okay, he's really an asshole. And I don't want my judgment to be clouded by if the sex was good. So I'm like, okay, I'll just, stay with him until I find the next one because he's an asshole, but the sex is good. Because that's, after a while, the sex ain't going to be good. So, I don't think I've been like this to Sarah. Being single isn't the end of my life. Exactly. It is so peaceful, Sarah. And I know you know. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The physical part does change. Absolutely. Absolutely. Years ago, I met this guy, and we were talking about, and he had been in my life for a long time. And so it was like, have you ever thought or like considered? And so we talked about it, like whether to be intimate, sexually intimate or not. And because he had been in my life for so long, like I knew for the most part who he was as a person. And like, what the fuck? I mean, and everything, everybody has their ways. And so there are some things that would irritate me about him, but hell, I know it's things about me that irritate him too. But, so we talked about whether or not to be sexually intimate. And he was like, well, if we do, and he's a year older than me. He said, well, if we do, just know I'm not young anymore. So I'm not going to be able to be flipping you around in the different positions and doing this and doing that. And I said, listen, I'm a disabled veteran. I am not limber like that anymore. So I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, dude, you're a year older than me. Like, what? And I'm disabled, so you can't be doing all that. And here's a tidbit just to lighten up the room if it's feeling heavy. I cannot be sexual with someone that's bigger than me because my hips. Both of my hips, man, the hip pain. I'm like, they ain't gonna open like that. So I'm like, we wanted to think, look how this is tearing upward into my crease because it's tearing. Y'all see that? So I just be like, I don't mean to discriminate, but this ain't gonna work. And I also think about if somebody's more handicapped than me. I'm just like, I don't know. Because we're not going to be arguing in 5 years over who going to push who in the wheelchair that day. I'm just like, because there's some days like I really need help. So like, how am I going to help you? We both going to have home health nurses coming in and out every other day because we both going to need help. Because sometimes I need help. So that means if I need help that day, I can't help you. Yeah, we ain't going to be arguing over the wheelchair. Who going to push who that day? And I was talking to my therapist about it, and he was like, that's really valid though. So you're going to have healthcare set up because I'm like, I can't like fully take care of another person. When I had those 13 days of on again, off again migraines, I was sleeping so much. So if I had a partner, like they would have been like checking my pulse. Like, is she still alive? Like she's been in this bed for like 13 hours. And so those are things I think about too. What Janessa say? Oh Lord. Tanya says, right, Sarah, there was a time when getting married was important. Yeah, and I think because we were raised that way. Meet somebody, get married, have kids. The dude, meet somebody, get married, pay the bills. And that was it. And it is so much more to it than that. But we don't realize that. Well, I didn't realize that till later. And I never felt pressure to get married. Like, oh, I need to do this because I'm trying to think of a lip right now. I did order some Sephora lip creams, and one is a teal. It says it's a teal green. The test drive isn't just about how good it is, but it's also about if something goes wrong, how do they handle it? Do they laugh about it? Do they get mad? Do they shut down? Show me the car fix. I hear you, and that's important too. This is a nude on me. And I thought about that green that I ordered because I think this shows up on me silver. Matte black, emerald green sparkles. This is a dark lipstick. This is the silver one. Yeah, show me the statistics. For some reason, I'm thinking put this nude one on because it's looking blah. We're gonna put this on and see what this looks like. And that's the thing too. Like this dude I dated before, he was 14 years younger than me, but he had only had one long-term relationship that was like 8 years, and other than that, he said he had only been with like 2 other people, and I'm like, I ain't counting. So I'm like, and so he was nervous. He said, I'm gonna be honest with you, and like I'm really nervous because I'm not experienced or whatever. I said it's okay. I said it'll be all right. And y'all, it was really good. It was really good. And we did talk about it afterward too. And that's the thing, like, be comfortable enough with a person to have those conversations and not just be like, let's just have sex. I mean, it is so much more than that. It is so much more than just sex. And I agree with that, be able to talk about it. And if they get mad about it, it's okay, your identity is wrapped up in your performance. Like that, and that's going to change as age comes. Alexandra says, that's LOL. You're the older guy, you would always say, I'm sorry after sex, I got so tired. Oh my God. It ain't it. And I do understand it is important, to enjoy the moment. I'll put it that way. But it shouldn't be like the end all be all of how you feel about that person or how they feel about you. And as I said earlier, it is something that can be worked on. So it's not like, oh, okay, he's not good at sex or she's not. Let's try something new then. Go to the adult store and buy some stuff. Buy a book, something. Speaking of that stuff, y'all, I had posted on my community tab my old TV setup, the box, a picture of the box of the new TV, and then the new TV setup. I don't know if any of y'all saw that, because that next day, I had an email from YouTube that they removed it because of nudity and sex. And I'm like, it's a picture of my TV. Like, what the fuck? And so I did appeal it. They didn't give me a strike, so that was good. So I did appeal it because I'm like, it's a picture of my TV. Like, what are you talking about? And they got back to me in like a half hour, and there's like, we have confirmed that there is sex and nudity in your pose. And I'm just like, so I'm looking at the picture, and the only thing I could think of, on my wall next to the TV, there's a huge picture, and it's a woman. She's chocolate, and she has a white dress, but it's a strapless dress. So you see, so from here up is nude, and she's standing like this, and behind her is a tall dude that's more chocolate than her, and he has like a white sheet over his head, and he's in white, and his white sheet like covers her arms, and his hands are like this over her hands, and they're both looking down like they're praying. And the only thing I can think of is, okay, they saw the shoulders and thought that was sex and nudity, because that was the only thing in the picture. Like, And you saw my pillow that said fuck on it, but that's not nudity or sex. So I'm just like, okay, so nude shoulders is sex and nudity? And I was really like, this would be the time to have someone to talk to say, what is it that you see? Because I see people that's dressed in her shoulders are nude, his shoulders wasn't even nude. Like, what are you seeing? But I'm glad they didn't give me a strike. And y'all know I don't even post stuff like that. So I was just like, what are they seeing? And I kept looking at it like, that's the only thing, is her nude shoulders. I'm like, damn. So that was kind of like, what? And what are y'all seeing? There was no sex or nudity in that post. I want to do my lower lip line. And I got this wonderful thing over here. It's taking her error to clear up. I like this with the look because it goes with the green eyeliner, but the look itself, it looks like other stuff I did. I'm glad the cheeks are popping. Snoop Dogg has this. Janessa, the older guy with it. Snoop Dogg has the answer for that. What's the answer, Alexander? What's the question? What's the question and what's the answer? Snoop Dogg want to go get high. That's what he want to do. Nessa says, my friend Neek has problems with YouTube pulling her stuff when she wears strapless dress or tank top. So maybe it is that. She's about my complexion is confusing. So maybe it was that picture. But you can see from here, she had the white dress on. The only thing that was nude was like from here to here. And her shoulders were bare. So I'm just like, and you would have saw her shoulders here, but his came down and covered the outside of her arm. So only like, the only thing you saw that was nude was like this right here. That's it. So I'm just like, okay, that's nudity now? Like, yeah. That was crazy to me. So this is the look with Bloom. This is our 9th look with this palette. It is looking more and more like I am going to put some bronze shades in there. But we're still going to pair Bloom with other stuff, like just to see what it looks like in case you do have the other Natasha Denona palettes or something of a similar color story. So yeah, this, because I did look at the looks I did with this yesterday and again today just to see. And I'm like, yeah, out of the 8 looks we already did, only 3 look distinctly different. And this looks like it could be one of those. And even with those 3 that were distinctly different, 2 of them you still had to be nuanced. Like, yeah, it was more orange on the outside than the other one, but it's still, so I'll say 2.5 different distinguishable looks with this palette. It is pretty, it is easy to work with, there's no mess. This is looking crazy because it's tearing upward and downward, but I can't help that. So, but yeah, so it is looking like we're going to end up mixing this with bronze shades. But we'll do that at the end. It's something I wanted to show y'all. I got swag from the YouTube boot camp, whatchamajigget, whatever they call it. I had got a sweater before. It was ugly too. It was like a weird color gray. And it said YouTube on it. And it said, you know, it wasn't going to shrink, whatever the material was. Yo, that thing, I got a 2X. That thing shrunk. I couldn't even get it on. And it was itchy as hell. I don't know if it was part wool or what. But I think I took that to Goodwill. This one is a crew neck. YouTube silver gray crew neck. And so, and I do wash stuff before I wear it. But them saying it wasn't going to shrink. I was like, okay. They lied. That shit shrunk. I couldn't even get it on. It does say it's, oh, I got a 3X. It is a champion. I don't know if that's backwards on your end or not. I almost forgot to show y'all this. And why the hell? It looks thick. It feels thick. This is summertime. Doggy style when you were talking about your hips. That part. That part. And there's still other stuff. Oh my good, y'all. I know some position. I ain't going to say because they ain't going to. Why the hell is it this set of crew neck, y'all. Why is this like a long sleeve sweatshirt? It's definitely Champion. I got a 3X in case it does shrink, but this is what it looked like. And the other one actually, oh, that's cute, I guess. The other one actually did say YouTube. To me, I'm like, who really be wearing this out? But if I had a jacket on, because I ain't trying to promote YouTube. So it's just a plain gray sweater. And I think I will put it in the dryer because I did get a 3X. This thing is huge. But I got a 3X on purpose because the 2X shrunk down to like a medium. I was like, what the hell? Just a minute, I will. And it does feel soft. That other one felt like wool. But it does, it's not the softest thing, but it don't feel like wool like the other one. This would be something that I would wear inside, because I do have indoor clothes and outdoor clothes. Made in Honduras. What? And authentic athletic wear. What does it say it's made of? 50% cotton, 50% polyester. Yeah, okay. So I am going to put it in the dryer since it is a 3X. So if it shrinks down to a 1X, I'll still be able to wear it. I might cut the neck part like I did for some of my other shirts. All that negative space in that little bitty logo. Yeah, I know. Ooh. This one guy I dated, he was just like out of nowhere, like, and we knew each other for a long time. And we do have a history. So we are not at all new to knowing each other. And, we would be, doing the do. And he would just do something completely different and this and that. And I would say, you've been watching porn, haven't you? And he'd be like, no. I said, tell the truth. He's like, yeah, I did. And he was weird in the sense that he would watch it, but he was watching it like it was something educational. Because he would watch it and then try stuff. And I'd be like, you saw it? And he'd be like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, I like it. But it was just weird because I don't know. He's the only dude I know that didn't watch it to do what Sean would do, just sitting there, take care of himself. He would actually just watch it and just look at it and then try stuff. So I'm just like, okay, maybe it is educational. But yeah, he was a lot of fun. So I like this, and that's what I'm saying. And not that it was ever bad, but even if it is bad, there's different things you could do. Try new things, do something. They got stuff you can buy, like equipment. I mean, so like I'm not even concerned about like, is it good or not? But yeah, that little itty bitty logo. I chase people away, y'all. People leaving like, oh Lord, is she talking about? But for those of us, like because I do want all of us to know who we are as an individual, and I want for all of us to accept who we are as an individual. I want for all of us to own our own junk, to know our own junk, and to work on resolving our own junk, and not for somebody else. Because it's like, oh, well, if you learn this, you'll be good for the next man. I ain't trying to be good for the next nobody. I'm trying to be better for myself. So just work on whatever it is that needs to be worked on to be a better you for yourself, not for anybody else. Because at some point, it's only going to be just you. At some point, unless both of y'all go at the same time, like an accident or something, God forbid. But that's what I want for all of us, is just to know who we are, to understand who we are, and to love ourselves for who we are, to understand we have issues, to be honest about it to ourselves, and to work on being a better us. And so that's what I like for all of us. And if we're still living according to lessons and things that we were taught as a child, sometimes we have to unlearn that and relearn who we are right now today, because we're not children anymore. You know what I mean? And even though there's still family, societal, religious expectations, are you living for that, or are you living for you? And if you are a spiritual or a religious person, nobody can tell you you're right or wrong. It's whatever you're comfortable with and what you have peace of mind with. Because there are some people that will be like, oh, I'm looking at them like, and when we know people, we know stuff about their life. So, and you trying to tell, girl, don't get me started with because I know you. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I want for all of us, is to know who we are and know that we have. Oh, it just said reconnecting. To know that we have worth, to know that we have value, because of who we are, not because of somebody else or because of something else. Often men are timid in the bedroom for me because I'm a boss in most areas of my life and I'm outspoken and in charge. I just want one area of my life where I don't have to be in charge, lol. That's why, that's what, not that's why, but that's why some, why did you say not why, but that's why some men who are submissives or they consider themselves submissives in the alternative community, they say because I'm in charge at my job, I run this company, I just want to just relinquish all control and just be. And so I do get what you're saying because I hear that quite often. They're just like, I run everything and I just want to just, go see my person and let her take charge. And I don't got to think. I don't have to make decisions. I don't have to, report to anybody or actually do the reports because they're the ones in charge at work where they run their own company. And I don't want to say a lot of times, but for, I would say at least half, or I would say actually a third, at least a third of the men, the submissive men I meet who say that they're submissive, that's their story. They're like, I'm in charge every day for 8 to 10 hours. I just want to come home and you just do whatever you want with me and with whatever else. But yeah, so I do get it. I do get it. And also I get your personality because y'all know me. I'm gonna speak my mind. I might put up with a little tiny bit of shit, but after a while I'll be like, yo, excuse me, now and I am outspoken, so I get what you're saying too. And on the flip side, I too am like, I don't want to have to think about this too. Be confident in yourself. I'm here, you here, we know why we're here. Just do the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't which is probably ironic. But I'm just like, let's just have a good time. Let's just have a good time. But at least you know what you want. Yeah. And it's hard. Like when you really understand who you are, why you are the way you are, what you desire and what you want, it makes it harder to date because we know what we're looking for. You know what I mean? And to some extent, nobody's going to check every box. But when we know what we want and you come up with some okie doke, it's like, oh, hell no. Nah. But like the dude, he thinks every man should have 2 women, but a man ain't going to tolerate me being polyamorous because a man don't trust another man. Boy, bye. Because that whole thing was just stupid. Why you need to trust a man you don't know and will never meet versus trusting a woman when she says that she's committed to you and she values you and the relationship? Like, why are you? Yeah, because he identifies by his dick. That's why. But yeah, so that makes it hard because me knowing who I am and how I am, you're not going to tell me I need to change for you because when you start changing for other people, chances are it's not going to work out in the end anyway. So then you're back to trying to relearn who you are because you got twisted behind somebody else. You don't change for somebody else. If you make a change or you want to make a change, do that for yourself because you have to live with yourself. But anyway, hopefully it feels natural, fun, and connected. I think that's how it should be. Because at the play space, somewhere in the presentation, it says if you're not having a good time, you're either doing it wrong or you're with the wrong person. And this is just in general, because the play space is adult play space. It is a sex positive place, but it's not just go and just do that. It's other stuff, So they're like, if you're not enjoying yourself, you're either doing it wrong or you're with the wrong person. Yeah. So I do agree with that, Tanya. It should just flow at some point and have that connection and be fun and be natural and not. And the thing is, we're all grown. Like I could see if like both of y'all are like 16 years old and you never did it, like that's different. But at our age, it's like, come on, man. Get away from me. Although someone was explaining to me what a brat is, and I think that I might be that because I want him to be the boss, but I want him to know that he's the boss because I said he could be the boss. I don't know if that's what most of us would call a brat. But I do get what you're saying. And so when men say that they're submissive, but you're making a decision to let somebody else be in control. And there are, oh my gosh, and this pisses me off. I know some women who are, masters in the leather community, they're dominants in the BDSM community, but they're only that because their partner told them, I want you to be this for me. And so they switched up their game to be a dominant for their person. So who's really in control here? If you're changing who you are because he wants you to, who's really the boss? So don't come to me talking about, oh, my relationship. Da, da, da. No, because you're doing what you're doing because he said he wanted you to, which means he's really in charge and he's controlling your behavior because you changed to be. Yeah. And that's not being a brat or anything, but it's like you were saying, you work hard all day, you make decisions all day. It's just, I just want to just come, just chill. And that's not being a brat. Unless you try to dictate every move or whatever, that's different. That's a little different. Just give them a script so you don't have to say anything. Yeah, and I don't like brats in the community because it's like, okay, I understand it's almost like role play, but I'm like, you grown, you don't be all whiny and no, I don't have the patience for that. But that's just me. But there are some people who love brats like in the community. So there's people for everybody. Just got to find your people. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a brat. I don't think you're a brat. I mean, I don't get that. But like Alexandra said, you know what you want. You know who you are. You know what you want. I for sure know that you know who you are. I don't think that's being bratty, like knowing what you are. And not saying knowing what you are, but knowing what you want. Because a brat to me is like, and even as adults, when they say that they're a brat in the community, it's like you tell them, okay, well, you need to have some vegetables with your dinner. I don't want to have vegetables. Bitch, come on now. Come on. No, just don't. Like you're not a, and my thing is that, excuse me for smacking, knowing that they're an adult, like stop acting like a child. But I know it's a thing in the community. I do know it's a thing. But that, how you just explain it, Janessa, to me, I wouldn't consider that a brat. You just want to just chill. When you're off work, you want to chill. I mean, that's how it sounds to me. There's a lot of terms I'm not familiar with, so maybe they're explaining it wrong. And I tell people, you can ask 5 people the same question, you'll get 8 different answers. And I'm like, yeah, I did say that. 5 people, you'll get 8 different answers. Because people, think different. They just think different. So just like if you ask people what's polyamory for them, there's all kinds of different stuff they'll say. So when I say that to people, I explain to them what it means to me. Because other people will say different, some of them. Yeah, like a kid being a brat. Yeah, like that. Yeah, Janessa ain't like that, right? No, she ain't like that. Yeah, I don't think you're a brat. I feel like you do have a dominant personality, but that you're not domineering. Like you're not going to be like, you need to da-da-da-da. But dominant meaning like, I know what I want. I know how I want things to be, but you're still open to going with the flow, as long as we get, you get the outcome that you wanted to get. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Yeah, we interpret things differently. Yeah, exactly. So I tell people, if somebody tells you something, ask them, what does that mean to you? Because that way they know what it means to you and not just what other people said. Exactly. I don't see that in Janessa either. I don't either. Yeah. So I do think naturally you have a dominant personality, but you're not domineering. You're not going to try to force stuff on people. And I knew somebody who said she was dominant. I said, you're domineering. You're an authoritarian. And I'm just like, you. And even just how she would say things. She invited me to her family's cookout or something. And she would tell me something like, go get that chair and bring it over here. And I would be like, and I wouldn't say anything. And then she's like, go get them deck of cards because me and them already play cards. And after like the 3rd time she did that, I said, you have a way of saying stuff that I'm not used to from somebody my age. And actually, she was a couple years younger than me. And she said, what do you mean? I said, you're domineering. I said, you had told me, go bring that chair over here. You could have said, can you bring that chair over here? You were like, go get that deck of cards instead of saying, can you hand me the deck of cards? So it's just the way that she was saying stuff that I'm like, who the fuck? She's just telling me what to do. And so she identified as a dominant, but I'm like, no, you're domineering. because you're just like, do this, do that, do this, do that, instead of saying it, hey, can you get these cards for me? Or, hey, can you hand me that chair? Can you know what I'm saying? It's a certain way you say things. And when I broke it down to her, she was like, and she would catch herself, and then she would switch up after that when she would ask me something or tell me something. She just didn't have manners, say please. Or just be like, hey, can you hand me those cards? Or if I'm like, can I sit here? Oh, can you, would you mind bringing that chair? Just the way you say it. They explained it like you want a person who is dominant, but you don't necessarily just comply. She described it as topping from the bottom is a thing. And it's not that they don't comply. It's that you want to be the submissive, but you're telling the other person everything you want them to do. That's topping from the bottom. So you want someone else to be dominant, but you want to dictate what they do. That's topping from the bottom. That's still not a brat, though, in my opinion. I am definitely a big personality. Oh, well. Yeah, topping from the bottom is different than being a brat. Adult brats, to me, in the community, they act like what Andrea said. They act like children. You tell them something, they want to argue with you. They want to, you don't, we ain't having no argument. I'm not going back and forth with you for you to eat your carrots because you know you need to eat vegetables. Like, I'm not, no. But some people like that little playful thing, and I think it's because of me being the type of thinker I am. It's just like, I can't get past you're an adult, so I'm not going to talk to you or treat you like a child. That's my thing. That's on me. Because some people do love being with brats and that back and forth and it's playful, and I'm looking at them like, yeah, y'all good for each other. Because But that goes back to knowing yourself and knowing how you are and who you are. But yeah, that's topping from the bottom is different from being a brat. But some people do say it's kind of the same thing. But the adult brats I know, it's like talking to a child when they get into that mood. Yes, no, because we know who we are and what we want. And I'm not going to keep telling you the same thing. But some people love it. It's something for everybody, somebody for everybody. But y'all, so I do appreciate the discussion, and because this was a more serious type one, but it goes in line with the Crazy Troll Nation, self-acceptance and self-love. Period. Excuse me, I don't have time for adults acting like kids. No thanks. Exactly. Because in my mind, I'm like, you're an adult. Like, what? The mascara. I love this mascara. This is from Esom Cosmetics. It's probably backwards. And it says the mascara. They know this is the shit. Because it's not like high sky drama volumizing mascara. No, it just says the mascara. They know this is the mascara. It's the mascara. That's it. They know it. Oh, thank you, Alexandra. And thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I love. It came in a bundle with 2 of their eyeshadow palettes. And I tried it. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then they had a bundle of 2 of the mascaras for the price, a little more than the price of one. So I ordered the bundle because man, I love this mascara. That's why I don't teach. My tolerance level is low. And I do like to teach, like when I do the presentations, because I'm running down what the rules are, questions and answers. And sometimes later people come to me and be like, hey, I was thinking about, because there's a lot of information. So later on, like an hour later, somebody might come find me like, hey, I have a question about such and such, because it takes time to process, because it is a lot of information in a short period of time. And even, in my clinical career, I had adolescent clients, another job, teenage clients, adult clients. And so there were always like workbooks involved and trying to help them figure out who they are and how to change their negative behaviors into positive behaviors. So there's always been a teaching aspect to a lot of stuff that I did. And even doing makeup non-professionally, there's a lot of teaching aspects to that too. So I don't mind teaching. And because that was my job, okay, when I come home, I'm done. I'm not dealing with no kids or, whatever. I'm the same way. After telling you the 3rd time, and I will say it in different ways because I'm trying to think, okay, maybe they're interpreting this way, or maybe they don't get it. Maybe they don't understand. But at some point, it's like, I'm done with you because we can't have a conversation. When I was younger, it wasn't a big deal. But being older now, and I'm like, come on now, we can't have an intellectual conversation. Like, what are we doing here? Why? But anyway, so I hope that this was interesting, talking about identities being wrapped up. As a woman, your identity being wrapped up in being claimed by a man. As a man, your identity being wrapped up in, your performance or your size, and learning that we are more than who we are with somebody else. We are more than our performance. You know what I mean? And so y'all know the Crazy Troll Nation. Just love yourself for who you are. And if there's something that you need to fix or you want to fix, work on resolving that for yourself to be better, not for anybody else. And be your authentic self regardless. And I tell people, somebody can be a straight up asshole. But when I see them in different places and in different situations, and they're still an asshole, you know what? I respect that person because they're consistent. That's who they are. If you change up according to where you are and who you're around, that's when I'm looking at you like you don't, either you don't know who you are, or you just be switching up because you're insecure and you want people to accept you. So you change according to the situation or the person. I don't respect people like that, because it's like, who the hell are you? Who are you? So someone can be an asshole from here to the end of the world and back, every situation, whatever group they're around. I respect them because they're consistent. That's who they are. I might not like it, but I respect it. So there's a difference. I don't like this person being an asshole, but I respect them because that's who they are and they're consistent. And they're not trying to front or keep changing for other people. Great topic, subtopic. Yeah, a lot of topics, subtopics. Whew. We be off on railroad tracks and everything else. And sharing of experiences. And I appreciate y'all for that, because I'd be like, are they really going to like say certain things? And y'all we really be chatting, and I appreciate that. And we do lose some people along the way, which is cool, because we have our, we have our core little group here, which I love. I always love hearing new perspectives. I'm from North Dakota, so repression definitely kept me from learning about different perspectives and viewpoints. And you know what, Janessa? I am proud to call you one of my friends, because we grew up completely different. And knowing different people from different places and different ethnicities and, different backgrounds, it enhances my awareness of just people in general. And I'll be like, wow. Like when I date white dudes, I learn a lot. I'm just like, wow. And they learn from me. They're like, oh, I've never been exposed to this before. And so it's exciting. And even me being 55, like I still learn a lot, from you, Janessa, because you are so open and so friendly, and other people here too. And I appreciate that, because parasocial relationships, y'all don't know me in real life, but here we are, having these deep discussions and sharing our life stories and perspectives. And thank you, Alexandra, for that. Judgment free. Just being who we are and just talking. And I really, oh my gosh, I really appreciate that. I really do. That means a lot to me. And I love y'all for it. But yeah, Janessa, to me, you are a wealth of information. And I had just to tell them, Janessa, something I had told you earlier, I'm not into vintage toys, but I love her vintage toy videos. Because growing up, I had a broke Barbie. I had the ones you had to cut out the clothes and put the little flap over to put the shirt on a person or whatever. Like I didn't have all of that stuff. And so when I'm watching even your toy videos, I'm like, wow. And it sounds so interesting to me, and you get so detailed and you're so excited and passionate about it that I'm like all the way in, and I'm not even in the vintage toys, but just learning and hearing about something new and something different, something I wasn't exposed to. It's like, wow. Because there's this myth of, be with people that's like you. Okay, that's boring, because all y'all the same, y'all think the same, from the same place. But when you start branching out and meeting other people and getting to know other people from different backgrounds, different places, like it's just like, wow, like this is awesome. That's how I found out about Penzies. One of the white dudes I dated was like, oh, let's go to Penzies. I'm like, what is that? And now I'm a Penzies hoe. Yeah, I don't get people who only want to be around people just like them. That is boring as hell. I already know me. I want to know other people different. So exactly. And that could relate to makeup too. That's why we get along too. We like different types of stuff. We don't want the same. We don't want our community. Everybody likes this. Everybody likes the same. Nah, let's do something different. Do something different. Because this is cute. And I'm glad for the green, but it looked like, most of the other looks out there with it. So it's like, but some people be like, oh my gosh, that is so pretty. Everything flows. Well, of course, it's all the same color story. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, it's cute. Can I do a black lip? Like, so knowing who we are, knowing what we want, and being willing to learn from other people and accepting other people for who they are, just how we want to be accepted for who we are and respected for who we are. So it goes both ways. And when you find people like we have found each other here that can do that, even if we agree to disagree, like it's okay. We're adult, we're grown, we talk about it. Hey, it's all love, you know. And so I do really appreciate y'all for that. For those watching the replay, if you stayed for all of this, leave a black heart and a troll emoji down below. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Bestie said in one of her videos what the percentage of that wasn't subscribed. And so I'm like, let me go look at my analytics. 35.7% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you're in that 35.7%, just go ahead and click the button because you keep coming back. Click the button, and consider joining the membership. Because this right here, it was an awesome live stream. Our members only lives, it's like this on 10 because we really be like, yeah, we be locked in. So that's a tidbit. But yeah, but that can be boring. Everybody the same. Like, this is not Stepford Wives. This is no. Whew. All right, y'all, we're gonna go. I did get red onions, and so I'm gonna fix my onion, cucumber, tomato salad. Of course, I'm gonna put Gouda cheese in it, some pepitas, some dried cranberries, some albacore. What else I got to put in there? I forgot to get sunflower seeds, but I have the pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds. That pineapple I bought, I can finally smell it, which means it's ripe, and so I'm probably going to cut that open tomorrow. But I'm going to have a salad, drink my tea with lemon. Look at all that lemon down there, y'all. Because each day I added a little bit more. So this is like 1 to 4 days worth of lemon, and it is so good. And this stays in my refrigerator too, so it's nice and cold. So I'm gonna drink that. But yeah, so we're gonna go. You making your cornflakes dinner? I love cereal for dinner, says Alexandra. I don't eat cereal no more, only because milk be tearing up my stomach. At first, it was like, okay, I couldn't drink whole milk because it would tear up my stomach. So I was drinking 2%, 1% of fat-free. And then 2% started irritating my stomach. So I'm like, okay, I got 1% and fat-free. 1%, and this is over years, 1% started tearing up my stomach. Okay, fat-free. Fat-free now tears up my stomach. So I have not had cereal or milk probably maybe like at least 8 years. Because I used to love me some cereal too. I would eat the Reese's Puff cereal as a snack because it was peanut butter and peanut butter flavored. And I used to love me some Frosted Flakes, but yeah, my stomach was like, nah, we can't do that. And then I tried almond milk, tore up my stomach. Cashew milk tore up my stomach. So I think it's how they process it. Because I can eat almonds, I can eat cashews, I can eat peanuts. But the almond milk started tearing up my stomach. The cashew milk started tearing up my stomach. I was just like, what the hell is going on with my system? Y'all know my system is different. But yeah, so it's been at least a good 8 years since I had any type of milk. And I can eat cheeses, though, depending on if it's a creamy cheese or not. But anyway. Yeah, y'all, as you get older, if y'all are a lot younger than me, I'm 55. Your system's going to change. Mine started changing when I was in my mid-30s. So, yeah. But anyway. So that is that. So we're going to go, y'all. But do, consider who you are and just be true to yourself. Good, bad, or indifferent. Be true to yourself. And you're 51, Tanya. I was there once. It was a good year, I think. Know who you are, and if you don't know, just take some time and just sit and contemplate, like, who am I? What is it that I value about myself? What makes me the awesome person that I am? What identifies me? What's my character? What's my personality? What's my morals? What's my ethics? That type of stuff. And so on that note, we're going to go. Thank y'all again, because I know we went some places. And usually we don't go that far into places. But talking to a friend, I'm like, "Ooh, I'm gonna talk about this on Monday. That'd be a good one," and it was a good one. So I appreciate y'all entertaining my madness with all the stuffs. We did this look. I do like it, but y'all know I like it because it is green up here and the green with the lip, and I like the blush situation. But the eyeshadow look, I've done this before, even with different colors in this palette. But yeah, so we celebrate ourselves and our differences, and we respect each other for who we are, because us trolls are friggin' awesome. Again, if you watch the replay and you made it this far, a black heart and a troll emoji. All of you, thank you for being here. Don't forget to shop Mac through my Shop My link. Take advantage of that 40% because it don't come around often. Um, yeah, I'm gonna get me some eyeliners, but I get 40% off anyway. So we're gonna go. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the discussions. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, self-acceptance, self-love. That is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.